Happy Valentine's Day. It's Friday, February 14th, 2025. First thing that I noticed is that it's 1:44. We talked about 1:44 on the 12th. We got it from 12 to the second power, or 12 times 12, 144. So there's something about today that's going to be reminding me of something that happened on the 12th. Keeping with the theme of duality and the number 2 for the second month, February, and then also 2025 has 2 2s in it. February 14th is 2 days after February 12th. So intuitively, I'm feeling a realization of something, a very profound realization that happened between the 12th of February and the end of today. It feels like coming to terms with something that you've held resistance toward or felt resistance toward. And now realizing that you can experience a much better outcome by harmonizing with something that feels like polarity or a contradiction. It's actually not. This is going to happen after self-examination and self-acceptance. An acceptance of the person that you knew you were before others convinced you that you were someone different. It's like a homecoming. There's a couple things that I see in there. I see 214, and one way I'm seeing it is 14 divided by 2. So 2 times 7 is 14. Since this is Valentine's Day, a lot of us are thinking about relationships. There's the double number, 2 parties in a relationship, 2 sides of a relationship, 2 people. 2 people participating in a relationship. So if we were to take 14 and divide it by 2, that is 7, and it deals with getting an understanding of a situation or even the world or life in general by looking inward. For people who are studying to build their intuition, one of the first things that you learn is know thyself. And in Christian Gnosticism, the knowledge of self is the beginning of the knowledge of God. That is what Gnosticism means. It's based on the knowledge of self, so getting to know oneself. The knowledge of self, and then acting in line with that or with authenticity connects you with your higher self or with the God frequency. So when I look at 214 and divide 14 in half, and I see 7 and 7, a healthy relationship requires that both parties can look inward, because the relationship you will reflect each other. Even when you see something about someone that you're in a relationship that you don't like, that thing that you don't like is something about yourself that is reflected onto that other person, or that you see in another person. And it's so easy to get irritated when you see it projected outside of you, because that's why you project it outside of you. If it's something that's really difficult for you to admit, a really hard feeling to experience from the inside, people that are not healed tend to they don't want that inside them. It's easier for them to look at it if they're looking at it. They don't want to feel like that is any part of them, or the way that they judge these feelings, or the way that they judge this. There's something about themselves that they don't understand. And because they don't understand it, they are judging themselves as a bad person instead of taking the time to understand this. But that doesn't mean you have to agree with everything. It allows you to have an objective viewpoint. This is about harmonizing. It's the beauty of harmonizing. And seeing 214 and thinking of it as 14 divided by 2. In the relationship, you are examining yourself, always looking. A healthy relationship requires that you have a healthy viewpoint of yourself. I'm also thinking of 2 times 14. And 2 times 14 gives you 28, and 28 is a number of compassionate leadership. When I think of compassionate leadership, I think of Jesus' commandment to love your neighbor as yourself. And we come back to loving yourself, knowledge of self, loving yourself. If you love yourself and you love your neighbor as yourself, then you wouldn't do something to a neighbor, or you wouldn't want anything for a neighbor that you wouldn't want for yourself. And so this compassionate leadership starts from the inside. So looking at it as 14 divided by 2 equals 7, you have these 2 people who are looking at the relationship from the perspective of, how would I feel about that? And then coming together. And then also the number 14, that is a number that feels like, I'm thinking of 2 parties or even 2 complementary colors. Like, say for instance, you have yellow and you have blue. And even though they look very different, when they come together, they make a really beautiful healing color, green. Blue is the color of understanding. It is the color of truth. It is a color of communication, so understanding your truth and speaking your truth. And the color yellow, it deals with courage and a healthy sense of self. I use a yellow highlighter to highlight a section of the textbook that I don't quite understand, because I'm going to go and do more research on that. You're going to dig deeper into that, drill into that, and think about, how do I feel about that, so that I can really apply that information to my life and get a more intimate personal understanding of that information, making it a part of my life, making it a part of my truth. But before you can do that, you need to do some research on it and really meditate on it. So when you take blue, which is the number of understanding and communication, looking at it with a desire to understand it, and there's even some courage. You have courage. You're courageously digging into something with a motivation to understanding it, and a willingness to dig deeper into it with a curiosity. When you take this blue color of understanding and you take this yellow color of seeking understanding, seeking healing, allowing someone to be able to speak their truth, or possibly helping someone speak their truth or communicate, I'm getting the sense of healing, and that would be green. And this understanding, this truth, this motivation, this courage, altogether, these are qualities that really move the heart, is what I'm seeing here. And so now we're seeing the connection between this date, 214, and what it stands for. Today's date, 2/14/2025, is a day that we are coming together. It's more about a heart connection. This is a powerful day because for such a long time, we've been feeling this agenda of dividing and separating, isolating. And the energy of today is about coming together with a motivation to achieve mutual understanding and healing. This is something that requires compassionate leadership, but someone with the courage to step out with this love for themselves and love for the environment and love for the world and the universe. Just a general vibration of love and authenticity. Someone who's not afraid to be in that state of love and gratitude and authenticity. Not approaching others with judgment, but a curiosity and a desire to connect or find common ground. Someone with enough courage to emanate this passion, exude this courage. A leader, a compassionate leader, to help others see that it's safe to be compassionate. This type of vulnerability is a strength, not a weakness. I'm also seeing 2142. So if we read that from left to right, it's two double-digit numbers. I see 21 and 42. And we know that 42 is 21 times 2. When I think of 21, the first thing that I'm seeing is 12 and then 21. And we know that 12 it's a sacrifice that you must make in order to make room for something that's more suited for you now. It doesn't mean that something wasn't always suited for you. This is looking back at circumstances, things that have happened, relationships, things that needed to end, with gratitude for the experiences and the decisions that you made that gave you the opportunity to learn new things about yourself, more things about the world. And looking back at these challenges and experiences and opportunities with gratitude, it unlocks the lesson of all this. So I'm seeing the 12 plus the reverse, the 21. 12 plus 21 is 33. And 33, first of all, 33 adds up to 6, which deals with love and mutual satisfaction, commitment, cooperation, compassion. But when we look at 12 plus 21, it's the sacrifice that needed to be made, and you did it. You did it along with the appreciation for what was there and what you got to share and experience. And that unlocked the gift, and the gift was the lesson. it allowed you to grow. You became an even greater creation. I'm hearing you became a masterpiece is what I'm hearing. So I see 214 and then I see 2025. The first 3 digits of 2025 are 202. And that says breakthrough for me right now. And the breakthrough that I'm seeing has to do with a shift in viewpoint. It has to do with a change of perspective of how you view challenges and taking risks, understanding and evaluating opportunities, cost and benefit analysis, but not just looking at quantitative but also qualitative, looking at these analyses in a very holistic way, a very holistic approach of doing cost and benefit analysis. Also understanding that logic is not usually half of the equation. Logic is not always even a third of the equation, but really looking at everything in a holistic way, allowing your heart and your intuition to be part of the decision, a valuable part of the decision. So I'm seeing that there's a breakthrough that is occurring. The breakthrough is about resistance. Looking at new things, challenges, things that used to be really hard for you to think about, ways that were hard for you to move, directions that were hard for you to think about. I see that you've reached a point now, it's like you felt like you've just been avoiding something for a really long time, and all of a sudden here you are faced with it. And when you're faced with it, all of a sudden you're realizing that it's not so scary. It's not as scary right in your face. The more you resist, the scarier. It's not so scary. You're realizing that it's not so scary when you face your life. And all of a sudden, these things that were difficult and emotional experiences, you are now feeling a sense of excitement. You're seeing opportunity, excitement, a chance to expand your point of view, experience a new way of being. All of a sudden, you are seeing the art in the challenge, and you are seeing adventure. I see you going from struggle and fear to even admiration and adventure. So what I'm hearing is let your heart lead the way. Allow yourself to enjoy the stability. It's about having a more balanced viewpoint of velocity and speed and managing changes. You don't always have to be wide open, and things don't always have to be stop and go or wide open and all the way stopped. You can allow yourself to feel through your circumstances. If it doesn't feel right, it's not the right direction. Things don't have to be so hard anymore. This is not about resistance, it's about harmony. It's about peace. So allow yourself to flow with the peace. Allow yourself to be guided by the peaceful vibrations, the peaceful directions, the peaceful people. Don't be afraid to pick up speed where you feel excitement, but also understand that you do have the brakes if you need to apply the brakes to slow things down a little bit, but don't be tempted to stop when you feel a sense of excitement that you're not quite used to. Allow yourself to enjoy the stability, but at the same time, allow yourself to appreciate the excitement and experience the excitement. Excitement has been scary for you. Excitement was scarier when you didn't know who you were. But now that you know who you are, you can experience excitement in a whole new way. I'm hearing always be prepared.